Hi, family. I have a theory. I just came up with it, so it's unfolding in these freeways in my mind as we speak. You know how when we were in school, every single time, it seemed like the class behind us, so the ones who were coming up behind us, they were always the ones to get the new uniforms, the new books, the breaks, right? I'm sure you can relate. In the same way, what if this parental, grandparent, alienation, estrangement, ghosting, no contact, whatever label your child or your child's group has put on it, whatever that phenomenon that's been happening in this age of the era of mother hate, because that's what it is. But what if it really has less to do with us as mothers and more to do with the advent of social media? Now, again, hear me out. I've been saying this for a very long time, having been on this path of family estrangement, having gone through this really long arc over the course of 2 decades. And when I first was inducted, thrown into this unholy club, there was no one else out there. I went on social media, was new. There were no other groups, none. So I created one for grandparents that's still out there as of this recording. And now there are hundreds and hundreds on both sides, right, of this cultural war. There are groups, many, many groups on both sides. So if we agree that the premise involves social media having come into play, and it did, it was at that time, the early 2000s, the mid 2000s, when it really started to accelerate. They'll do studies, it'll prove it. I'll be long dead, but they'll prove it. But what if this was more about those kids, for the first time ever, not being able to come into their own, find their own space, make their own shadows, because we too were on social media. We too grew along and made lots and lots of mistakes along the way. And so those kids never had the chance to separate, as it were, fall completely out of the tree and fly. And so their only recourse, they felt, was to completely block us off. Now, I don't know. Like I said, this part of this revelation epiphany for me is relatively new. I've just started marinating on it a few hours ago, going beyond the social media cause, which is a huge part of it, to, well, now wait a minute. Had they done the social media thing alone and just had one another instead of us in there all the time? I'm not saying we were wrong. I'm just saying it's something to ponder. Which, by the way, helps the head. As a mother, I know this. It helps the head and the analytics of tearing this whole thing apart. Because trust me here, nobody's spent more time doing that. So I wonder if that's not, I'm just wondering if it's not part of it. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I really would.